Welcome. Another week of the TWIR weekly podcast. Welcome back. It's post Daytona 500 week, and we've actually got a lot of stuff to talk about. The Google Doc is now filled up. Tried recording this a couple days ago. My voice recorder didn't work, and my computer died. So we are back today. Gonna talk about some news. Starting off with the Daytona 500, congrats to William Byron and Hendrick Motorsports in a questionable finish as they came to the white flag. William Byron was side by side with his teammate Alex Bowman, but Austin Cindric and Ross Chastain started wrecking. So they called the yellow as everyone was spinning through the grass and hitting the wall, and they said Byron was ahead. There was a huge controversy, like 2002 Indy 500 style, of who was ahead when the caution light came on. And it looked like Bowman was ahead, and then people looked at it harder and they saw that Bowman Bowman's car was just out of shot when Byron's onboard during when the yellow light came on. So Byron's the winner. Also under very strange circumstances because it's the 40th anniversary of Hendrick Motorsports' first race, and Rick Hendrick has the audacity to say, we couldn't have scripted that any better, so now all the conspiracy theorists are going crazy because, oh my gosh, Hendrick just admitted that NASCAR is scripted. Like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what to think. Moving on to Xfinity, this was even less of a surprise. Austin Hill won his third Daytona 300 in a row, so he's got a hat trick now. He beat Sheldon Creed to the line in a reverse of what happened that earlier that night in the Cup race, because remember, both of these races were run Monday night. They didn't call a yellow when a wreck happened on the backstretch when Ryan Sieg got taken out, so it was just Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed, and at that point, Creed, driving a Toyota, had no match for the ECR engine that was underneath Hill's Bennett number 21. Hill wins his third straight Xfinity race for RCR. We actually have a couple other headlines from the Xfinity race. Sam Mayer had a really bad wreck at the beginning that took out him, Daniel Suarez in the fifth Colleague car, Kyle Weatherman in the number 91 DGM car, and of course, why not, Hailie Deegan. Natalie Decker surprised literally everyone by leading laps Monday night, which is really funny because Kyle Riley, if you watch Twisted Toe, he makes really bad parlays. I think this was him. It might have been somebody else. But I saw somewhere that Natalie Decker had worse odds of winning the Xfinity race than drivers who weren't even in the field. David Starr, who wasn't even in the race, had better odds to win the race than Natalie Decker. And I thought that was really funny, especially looking at that as Decker was leading. It was on a pit cycle, but, still, that's pretty funny. Moving on to trucks. Craftsman Truck Series opener. I'm recording this between the two Atlanta races. So truck race just finished. I'll talk about that when I release another podcast on, what's it going to be? Probably Tuesday, since I'll record on Wednesday, since I record on Tuesday. Trucks, we had Nick Sanchez getting his first career win. Really love to see it. Happy for the Rev guys. And then 2 days later, it comes out that Kyle Busch is suing Rev Racing because apparently Rev did not give KBM all of the money that they wanted for their alliance last year. As usual, in a truck race, half the field is totaled. Probably seeing mass chassis casualties in terms of car frames that just won't be able to race again. And Taylor Gray took everyone back to 2017 when he went flying over the top of, ironically, Matt Crafton, who had the exact same accident in 2017. And if you look really closely, Taylor actually landed on top of his brother, Tanner Gray, driving the 15 for Tricon Garage. ARCA, Gus Dean won for Venturini. It's a Venturini win on a super speedway. It doesn't get more bland than that. He had beef with Tony Breidinger though at some point. It produced a really funny photo. Traffic Paradise, one of my favorite people. AJ is one of my favorite people on Twitter. That's his new profile picture now. It's just Tony Breidinger looking really, really pissed at the camera. So that great image was produced Friday night for ARCA. We just had the typical chaos. Shane Van Gisbergen was forced to run the ARCA race. Sadly, his image of American motorsports is probably a little tattered now. Just he lasted 5 laps before getting collected in a wreck. So just typical ARCA things. Moving on, we're only 6 minutes in. We got a whole lot of IndyCar news. Oh my word. It has been a second since I've recorded. McLaren revealed their liveries. You can tell the cars apart now because Rossi's car is no longer Gulf Blue. It's white now. Malukas' car is blue, and Pato's is still black. Speaking of David Malukas, he is out for the first 2 rounds of the season after injuring his hand in a bicycle accident. He will hopefully return at, I don't even know what the 3rd round of the season is, because I know they cut Texas for the All-Star race. Yeah, so he'll be back at Long Beach. It's the Long Beach is the 3rd race of the season. That is on April 21st. His recovery should be complete by then. Huge news dropping on Valentine's Day for all of the oval lovers. Oh boy, Nashville Superspeedway has replaced the street course as the 2024 IndyCar season finale due to construction around the new Titan Stadium interfering with the planned street course that was going to be run. So remember, we haven't had Nashville on the schedule, haven't had Nashville Superspeedway on the schedule since 2008. Since before I was born. That's such a weird thing to say. I feel so old now. I'm only 15. Anyway. We have, oh boy. Yeah, so Scott Dixon after 15 years is still the defending winner. The three-time defending winner. No one other than Scott Dixon has won at Nashville Superspeedway since 2005. Now we have the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the last 8 races are on ovals. We have the 2 races at Iowa, Gateway, the 2 races at Milwaukee, and we have Nashville. This is incredible for IndyCar. This is gonna bring the old IRL fans back, for one, because this is a legacy IRL track. And the fact that SMI is even letting IndyCar come back after the falling out that they had back in the late 2000s that caused them to lose how many? They lost Homestead, Chicagoland, Nashville. Kentucky's an ISC track. They lost multiple of their big ovals, and they were left with, like in 2011, they were left with, out of the 1.5 ovals, they were left with Kentucky and Vegas, and that was it. Vegas is no longer an option, which I'm kind of grateful for. I'm glad they're even not really considering that. I'd like to see them go back to Kentucky. I don't know why. I don't know how that track would race now. But in terms of ISC tracks, I'd love for them to go back to Homestead. They had a preseason test there on the Roval, and I think that would be a cool stretch, having a doing what they do for the Indy Grand Prix and the 500, except condensed down into 2 weeks. You have the Homestead Roval race one week, and you have the Homestead Oval race the next week. And what you can do to increase ticket sales, you could sell combo tickets. You can buy tickets that will get you into both races. That way you have people showing up to your oval races, because that's the huge problem with oval races, with road courses. I heard David Land say this. You can pack fewer people into a road course and make it look like it's completely crowded, because you can only have people like spread out in the corners if you have a crowd of like 30,000 people. If you have a crowd of 30,000 people at, say, Nashville, it's going to look like nobody, because Nashville has these big, giant grandstands built for NASCAR. Iowa looks packed. Iowa is packed. They have to put up temporary grandstands, but that's because Iowa's really small, and you have to fit more people around. You got to put up temporary grandstands, but you're still fitting roughly the same amount of people. Iowa just has really low capacity. But this is incredible. I didn't think this was going to happen. My nickname in the IndyCar Discord server for a while was Bring Back Nashville SS, and I changed it back to like my regular Discord name, and then like 2 days later they bring back Nashville. Now I'm just waiting for them to bring back Texas, and then I don't know. I really hope this opens a door for more SMI ovals to come back. And hopefully the racing there at Nashville isn't terrible. We are getting the super speedway kits. Nashville's not quite a mile and a half. It's a mile and a third, but it's still above the limit that IndyCar will use the super speedway aero kits there, the ones that they use at the 500, which is great because the only other race that they used those was Texas, which got taken off the schedule because NASCAR went to the spring weekend because they're going to remodel Texas, which I really hope they change Texas back to the old version so IndyCar can go back and have some good racing. I really hope they don't Atlantify it. That way IndyCar doesn't come back. Also, Eddie Gossage made a lot of really funny tweets about the new NASCAR Netflix series. I'm not going to comment much on that, but everyone responded to him in kind, and it's cool to see him get like roasted on Twitter by the whole community. Moving on, more IndyCar stuff. Great for the collectibles people. Parkside Collectibles is making new IndyCar trading cards, so if you're into that, that is awesome. What else is here? We have Takuma Sato joining RLL for the 2024 500. This is great. We are now over 33 cars. We've been over 33 for a while, so I think we're going to have 35, I think is where we're at right now. If we can get one more, great. If we can get two more, awesome. Really, we're going to have bumping this year. It just depends on how many people will see bumped. So I'm going real fast today. This is a very quick episode. I'm probably going to try and condense this show down into 25 or 30 minutes instead of 45 minutes that I usually do. That way it's just like actually, recordable. It takes less time. So if you've made it this far into the video, make sure you like, subscribe, so you don't miss any new content. It's going to be shorter, so it's going to be a little more tolerable. And also I don't have to spend as much time researching and end up having to spend like 2 weeks gathering news to fill a 45-minute show. Instead, I'll just try and fill like a 20-minute show. That'll be great. And also, I'm being a lot smoother in this show because I'm removing a lot of my filler words. I know what I'm going to say before I say it. All broadcasting tips, if you're going to get into broadcasting or YouTube or content creation or whatever, those are all great things to know. So, plugs are over. Well, not yet. Like, subscribe, share the video with your friends. Make sure to tune in to the podcast. We're going to start branching out to other platforms soon. I'm probably going to put this up on SoundCloud for the people that want to, for all the SoundCloud rappers that like cars. Moving on, we've still got some more IndyCar stuff. We've got Root Insurance joining Ganassi for the 2024 season. They were on Ryan Hunter-Reay's number 23 at Dry and Ramble car at the 500. Speaking of Dreyer and Reinbold, their partnership with Cusick is now across both cars. So the 23 and the 24 will both be Cusick cars. Hunter Ray will be in the 23, and Connor Daly will be in the 24. Sadly, it looks like we are not getting Stephen Wilson this year, even though Andretti is down to 3 cars. They 4 for the 500. They had 5 last year. They could, if Wilson has the money, they could end up manifesting a ride for him for the 500. I really hope so. I doubt it. I doubt it happens. Andretti's new liveries are frankly not great. I liked last year's with the same, designs and like stripes across all of them, just different colors depending on the sponsors. They still have that this year, but Herta's and Kirkwood's cars are black bases now, and they just look like test cars. I really wish they flipped them around. Like on Ericsson's car, the base color is blue and the accent is teal, and oh my word, it looks beautiful. But on Herta and Kirkwood's car, I really wish they would flip the colors around. That Herta's base color would be yellow or blue, and the accent color would be either blue or black. And I wish that Kirkwood's was still pink, because Kirkwood's pink car from last year was really, really, really good. Speaking of liveries, the RLL also dropped Christian Lundgaard's Hy-Vee car. There's a lot more red. I really like it. They also released Pietro Fittipaldi's 5-hour energy car, and oh my word, it's awesome. It's giving me Scott Sharp IRL vibes from the late 2000s IRL era. It looks like his Delphi car. Or not late 2000s, it was like mid 2000s. But anyway, it looks like Scott Sharp's IRL car from back in the day. Also have more red and yellow. And also great to see 5-hour energy back. Like, we need more big names. Like, a lot of people people now know what Gainbridge is. Like, before they started sponsoring a car, you wouldn't know 5 years ago who Gainbridge were. You wouldn't know what Root Insurance was. We need sponsors that people know. Like, that's what was so great about Target and Ganassi, is that it's the brand identity. Like, people, like, I immediately see Target and I immediately think of Chip Ganassi Racing. I see Chip Ganassi Racing and I immediately think of Target. It's a mutual thing that both parties benefit from. And we need more of that. We need more companies to buy into auto racing to gain more exposure, because it's been proven to work. Look at these like historic like Gulf Oil. Gulf Oil is now one of the most famous brand names, color schemes ever, because of what they did in the late 20th century at Le Mans. And what they still do now, like what they sponsored McLaren last year, they sponsored Williams a few years ago in F1. They're one of the more famous companies now. Look at Red Bull. Look at what motor racing has done for Red Bull's reputation as a drink. Like, Red Bull's much more mainstream than it was well before they entered Formula One. They've gotten way, way more brand exposure. It's great for teams, and I wish they would be able to see that. And it's great to see 5-hour energy actually get into it, because, the last time they were in motorsports was on the Michael Waltrip Racing number 15 in NASCAR. Well, it was H. Scott Motorsports before the team went dead. But, Spingate happened and 5-hour energy was kind of like, yeah, we don't want to support this anymore. But we also have Alex Palou's DHL number 10, and oh my word, it's beautiful. There's a little bit too much red, but I like it. I actually really like it. Of course, DHL does their Pride car every year. I'll be interested to see how that looks. I don't know how they're going to fit that into a livery that looks like this instead of like what Grosjean's car was. Unless they make like the red part of rainbow or the yellow part of rainbow. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. We just got to wait and see. Moving on to the last few items on our list. Asian Le Mans Series invites went to CrowdStrike APR and TWIR Racing. TWIR Racing didn't take up either of their auto invites from Europe or Asia because they already have a full-time WEC car. CrowdStrike APR only took up one because George Kurtz is a Jim Truman Award winner from IMSA. So that covers the Asian Le Mans Series auto invites. I will have a Le Mans entry list video out soon. I just thought I would go over it a little bit. I just thought there were a few things that I would like to go over. Along with the 83 Ferrari, that car is really not beating the this is the third factory car allegations because it's literally just the factory paint job, but reversed. Don't get me wrong, it looks really good, but them trying to distance themselves from the factory program really isn't working. So looking at the Le Mans entry list, we've got Toyota, we've got Porsche. There is a third Porsche Penske Motorsport car. There are two other Cadillacs, just like last year. The 3 and the 311 are back for Ganassi's second car in Action Express. That makes a total of 23 hypercars pending on the reserve list, the number 79 Proton Porsche 963. That car will be in the field if a car withdraws. So, there are 16 LMP2 cars, one car above what the ACO said they would let in. This is interesting because the 16th LMP2 car is Jonas Reed's Proton Competition number 9. Proton can pull that car to let their other hypercar in and maybe reassign Jonas Reed to the hypercar. We don't know whether that's allowed because Jonas Reed's a silver rated driver, and I don't know whether that would fly in hypercar. 23 cars in LMGT3. There's a few entries that are notable. Before we get to LMGT3, we do have also so we've got 3 Porsches, 3 Cadillacs. We have the spare Lamborghini that's coming over from America. Iron Lynx is entering both of their cars that are competing across the world. They are they're going to have both of their cars at COTA for the WEC race, and they're probably going to have both of their cars at Indy for the Tire Rack Battle on the Bricks, which is a 6-hour race this year. Great to see my home race get a little bit of love. So the non-WEC entered cars in LMGT3 are the Proton Competition number 44. That's a Mustang. That's Christian Reed's car. I don't think Proton would sacrifice that car to let their hypercar in. I think they would let their P2 car withdraw. They would withdraw their P2 car. Next invitational car is the JMW Motorsport, or next non-full season car is the JMW Motorsport number 66. That's a Ferrari. Inception Racing will enter with a McLaren with their usual lineup of Brendan Arieb, Ollie Milroy, and Frederick Schandorf. GR Racing is back. Not doing a full season. Michael Wainwright's the only confirmed driver in that car right now. The final open, quote-unquote, open entry non-full season is the Spirit of Race number 155 Ferrari. That's Duncan Cameron, Matthew Griffin, and David Perel. That's all I got to say about the Le Mans entry list. There are a couple more notes down here at the very bottom. Chip Ganassi Racing has left Extreme E. This is a shame because they were running the Hummer front end body style that that nobody else was running. So Ganassi is out. Legacy Motor Club is in. So if you really wanted a really strange entry for Extreme E. You've got Legacy Motor Club now, which is Richard Petty's. It's not Richard Petty's team anymore, really. He sold all of his stake in it. It's run by Jimmy Johnson now, but they're now in Extreme E, which will become Extreme H, because they'll switch to hydrogen apparently. So one of their drivers includes Travis Pastrana, I think, is what it's looking like. Yeah, so the lineup is going to be Travis Pastrana and Gray Ledbetter. I've never heard of her, but, good for them. And in a strange news break, Dynamic GT and Ford have parted ways before their scheduled partnership even started. They were going to run Ford Mustang GT3s in GT World Challenge Europe this year. Apparently something happened where they can't do that anymore, and they have parted ways with Ford. I would not be surprised if they go back to Porsche. That's the most viable option in terms of cost, but that's not guaranteed. We don't really know a lot right now. Dynamic just put out a statement on social media the other day saying that they have parted ways with Ford in a very, very strange turn of events because they had just tested the car. I'm wondering if they had tested the car, said, this car actually kind of sucks, and then we're like, screw you, we're choosing somebody else. I'm wondering if Ford got screwed over by Dynamic after Dynamic thought that the car was bad. It's all speculation at this point. We just don't know. F1 preseason testing wrapped up. I'm going to leave you guys with this. I'm praying for the RB20, the new Red Bull, to be horrendously unreliable. That way we actually have different winners this year. Max Verstappen was at the top of the charts for Red Bull, while Sergio Perez didn't even turn a lap, which is very, very surprising. Ferrari seems to be they seem to be on Red Bull's tail right now. They topped, I think, 2 of the preseason testing days, while Red Bull topped the other. So you're going to have to watch out for Mercedes in qualifying. I don't know how much of a threat they'll be in the race. So I don't know really. There will be a video eventually where I rank, hopefully before the season starts, where I rank all of the liveries, because I really like a few of them and I'm not a fan of a few others. So look forward for that. I'm going to have that. I'm going to start making highlight videos again. I've just got more video projects to do in general now for this channel, so I can upload more content for you to consume. Wouldn't that be fantastic if I uploaded every week? I will be back on Wednesday when I have more news from around the world of motorsport. Thank you for listening to the TWIR Weekly Podcast in the new half-hour format. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more content. I'm hopefully going to get this podcast up on some other platforms soon. Follow me on Twitter. Join some Discord servers. All the links to those are down in the description. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on Wednesday.